All right, good morning, everyone. So first, a little bit about myself. My name is Margaret Menard. I'm a junior at Rancho Solano Preparatory School, and I'm not from Arizona. I'm relatively new. It'll be about 3 years this coming June, and I was actually born in Virginia. I've lived in 4 states, moved 9 times, so you could say I get around. Next slide. So my involvement with STEAM as opposed to STEM, I'm very eclectic, as you can see up here. I have a lot of different passions and interests that I tend to apply myself to. I'm an artist, so I draw. I've never had an art class in my life, so don't ask me to define any terms. I can't do that. But it's what I love doing. I've been holding a pencil or a paintbrush or anything since I was little. And I'm also a musician. I'm a percussionist, and I'm well-rounded in that regard. I do anything from jamming out with a rock band after school to playing more traditionally with Phoenix Youth Symphony. I also love photography and videography. I love editing videos and putting those together, and I've always had an obsession with the sky, especially the night sky. So as you can see, I've got a few pictures I've taken and edited up there. And I've been able to apply some of these interests to more STEM or STEAM-oriented aspects, like logos, for example. Marketing for me is a huge aspect of STEM and STEAM that a lot of people don't recognize, because the art and STEAM is the creative aspect, and marketing is all about creativity. You're finding ways to market to people as opposed to marketing for, because it's an art to be able to market specifically to someone as opposed to generally marketing and hoping someone catches on. So being asked to design logos for people is something that means a lot to me, because I'm being given an opportunity to market towards people and provide people with opportunities, especially the companies that I'm making these logos for, with an opportunity to open up to more people. So, next slide. So what is STEM to me? For me, STEM is innovation, it's growth, it's development. And my upbringing, having lived all over the place especially, means a lot, because it means I'm able to adapt more easily. And in the world of STEM in the 21st century, we're exposed to things that are always moving, always changing, always evolving, and being able to adapt to those things, I think it's essential for people, for products, for STEM in general. So, next slide. So bringing it around to where the A comes in, a little bit of background about myself. I've always been more of a humanities-oriented student. I wasn't ever much of a strong math person or science, and this is one of the reasons Nova and I really connected, because I appreciate a lot of what he had to say. And as a chief science officer, which I also appreciate, because another important aspect of my upbringing was my father exposing me to Star Trek growing up. So, but I also appreciate Star Wars. So. But again, bringing it back to where the A comes in, for me, I've always been more of a humanities student. So last year, I had the opportunity to take a course called EPICS under ASU, which stands for Engineering Projects and Community Service. And for me, that was a pivotal point in how I viewed STEM, because I always saw the merit to STEM, I always thought it was important, I saw that could be applied in life, but I never saw how I fit into that equation. So taking this class, I was able to make a difference in the world, which is something I'm very passionate about. I was able to find a problem and solve it. There's a remote little village in Peru called Urubamba, which is about 9,000 feet up in the mountains. They have little to no resources, and they rely solely on agriculture for their means of income and how they eat. And I was able to connect with an alumnus who graduated my freshman year at Rancho, who got into Princeton, and he chose to do the Princeton Bridge program, which essentially entails him going abroad for a year before he starts there and do community service. So he was in Cusco, Peru, building stoves for people, and he got in contact with us because he went up on the weekends to Urubamba and helped out there. And he told us that they had an excess of manure there, but they didn't really know what to do with it. They didn't have any AC or heating facilities, so they were thinking of utilizing the manure for some sort of heating process. And so upon further examination, when I found out that agriculture was a huge issue there, myself and my partner on the project decided to take a more agricultural twist on it. So we looked into vermiculture, which utilizes worms in agriculture. And we found out that worm castings are the richest natural fertilizer known to mankind on the planet. They are extremely easy to cultivate, it's cheap, and it's extremely efficient. So implementing the design that myself and my partner developed, Urubamba was able to implement a cheaper, more efficient design to their agriculture. So for example, just to put some numbers to what I'm saying, we ran a test site locally so that we could mimic the conditions there in Urubamba, and we put together a mirrored garden of sorts. On one side we used peat moss, which is your generic store-bought fertilizer, and on the other side we used worm castings that we developed ourselves. And we planted seeds from the same seed packets on both sides. It was exactly the same other than the fertilizer used. After a few months, the potato plant, for example, on the peat moss side grew to about 6 to 8 inches with 2 potatoes. The worm casting side grew to 3 feet and produced 8 potatoes. So for a place like Urubamba that has nothing going for them other than agriculture, and they rely solely on agriculture for how they eat and how they make money, a process like this makes a difference. They're getting more for less, and they can do it cheaply, efficiently, and effectively. So for me, that was the big pivotal point in how I looked at STEM, because I was able to apply my personal interests and passions and what I'm good at to STEM. And it's not something that I'd ever been able to do before, at least nothing that I ever thought I'd be able to do before. And this year we're taking a more entrepreneurial twist on it and establishing a business locally, and we're hoping to expand the international outreach. So this project has gone above and beyond my expectations and others. So for me, that's really important. And that's what inspired me to be a chief science officer. So that's kind of how I see STEAM. But personally, I want to be able to inspire, as a chief science officer, others who are more humanities-driven and oriented and arts-oriented and driven to follow a similar route that I did. I want them to be able to see that there's options for them out there, aside from what they've been told their whole lives or what they thought themselves. I want them to be able to see that in this world that's always changing, they can apply themselves to that.